But can we admit most men can't ever get access to the beautiful woman, but the unattractive woman can get access to the handsome man?
I can admit that.
I would also like for you to admit that a man would learn a whole lot more quickly than a woman would to get rid of a cantankerous fine woman over a decent woman that'll treat him right. And if
I
I
don't
will
know.
say this,
What?
and if you do see a man with a cantankerous bad chick, the only time you see that he'll stick around is if he's stuck with her because he married to her.
But a lot of men are just stuck because they're loyal. Some men are just overly loyal. And so they stay there and they unhappy as
We
hell.
loyal. That's love. We'll
Did
be
he?
loyal, unhappy. We'll be no, then we'll be get shamed for breaking our families. Y'all don't
I
support men who
understand
leave.
that. It's
We don't support men who leave bad women. We'll shame the man for leaving and breaking up the family. Where we'll support the woman who creates a broken home. But we say it's for self love and happiness. We don't treat men like that.
but well, I see it another way because I have like I grew up with guys, nothing but guys. Like I had a brother, he had a bunch of friends, and there were no girls in the neighborhood. And my best friend is a guy, so like I know I encouraged my best friend to leave his baby mama because she was terrible. And he ended up understanding what I was saying because he ended up getting custody of the children because it's a long story. But point is, he was going to stay because he didn't want another man around his children. He didn't want to break up their family, but it was just in his best interest. And I encouraged it, and they were all better for it. They were better with her out of the picture. So I understand there are a lot of women that will do that, cheer one side on while, denigrating the other side. But I don't do that because I see both sides because I have guy friends that have been through relationships.
But do
I
you
got
see the talking point of when men say men will pick their women and family over their feelings, where women will pick themselves and family over will pick themselves and their feelings over their family. Because all she
Um,
have to do is change how she's behaving and she keeps her family, but he wants to see his kids 100% of the time instead of 50% of the time. So he picks his family over the way he feels with being with that
I
woman.
understand it. Yeah.
Hey, Bo, I got a quick question for you.
What?
Would you have told that story had you given him that advice and he lost his kids?
Uh, no. I
That's a
guess I
lot of
wouldn't.
men's. That's a lot of men's situation. They
Right.
they
Well, no,
get they.
he did. No, she had the kids before, and he was on child support.
No, I'm saying like
But
if you look like right now, he wasn't seeing his kids. Like she'd have took off
yeah,
on him. She won the
right, right.
kids. Did some like because that's what happens with a lot of men. Like even through encouragement, like a woman like our home, like people tell us to leave all the time. You know what I mean? Hey, bro, you need to. Hey, that shit, something wrong with it, bro. But we already like our fear of losing our children and losing access to them. And then, because I know a lot of women, a lot of people like to say, "Oh, well, how can men be afraid of losing resources when they ain't got none?" It don't have to be resources. It could just be the kids.
I
Damn, I got
understand.
to live apart from my kid, and like that fear would cause us to stick around a whole lot longer. And then that's why I was just wondering, like, had that man lost access to his kid, would you have told that story?
But
I'm glad you was honest enough to say
right.
no, because it'll be like,
Yeah,
damn, yeah, I convinced my homeboy to leave, and he ain't seen his kids in 6 years.
yeah, and I would have felt bad. So yeah.
You want to go ahead and go, Pearl? We're closing out shortly.
So obviously, a lot was said. My take on it is, I like that Bo mentioned learning. We've learned these standards of materialism. We've learned how not to support. I mean, even if it's through like a lack of education, you either learned or you didn't learn these things. But again, I like how she mentioned learning. Some of us need to learn these things, and we're not on the same learning path. Some of us are going to learn things faster than others. I don't think that should be the basis of our conversations. we all want relationships. We speak about these a lot. We give great advice. Sometimes we may clash, but I think at the basis of it, you have to know who you are. You have to know what you want. We spoke about standards. We spoke about like commitments and sticking it out. It depends on you though, like what you're taught. That's why I love that Bo said learning. What have you learned? And is that conducive to you even having what you want? Sometimes you learn when you get more resources how to settle yourself and not be egotistical and not just go out there and do a bunch of reckless things, but it's all learning. We don't wake up at 21 and just know everything just because somebody told us we was numerically advanced and we're adults now. You have to grow into these things. So I think we all just need to give each other some grace. I think a lot of blanket statements are always made about men and women. It's always subjective based on you as an individual, what you want, what you don't want, what you're willing to work for and not. I do know that when we're on these platforms, we're on other spaces and we see media and digital platforms and other representations, it teaches us certain things like what to look for, what not to, what's appealing, what's not. But we're grown. Again, that's a part of learning. You know that that's superficial. You know that that's surface level. It's not going to get you anywhere. So if I would take anything from all of this conversation, is not to get wrapped up in materialism, not to get wrapped up in surface level beauty, but to really figure out who those persons are and develop a deeper and a stronger vetting process and not waste so much of your time. Because again, if you were vetting and you wasn't just going in off the surface level, I think you would learn these things like the men say they learn much quicker. We as a society, as people, we would learn these things much quicker if we were willing to have the brave conversations that we don't have, if we were willing to ask the brave questions that we don't ask. So like I said, if you want a relationship, you got to work for it. It's always going to be materialism. Always going to be other people and opportunities for you as a person.
I disagree with that. Men learn much quicker. I heard that said twice tonight, but
I was just throwing it in there because that's what they said.
So,
but
yeah,
I don't believe that because
correction.
men continuously remarry. Like pretty much 2/3 of men who have a failed marriage go ahead and do it again, despite the rate being just as high, like about 2/3, and then you'll even do it a third time, despite the rate of it being like almost 75%. So that doesn't really scream learning to me. That seems like insanity to me.
it was subjective to me, Trev. Thank you.
And continuously seeking women who aren't suitable and not understanding how to vet, or for whatever reason, it's not working.
I don't know if it's like the finding not suitable part as far as when a man is willing to remarry, it's usually because he's taken a hard lesson and a look at himself through his other marriage and was able to find out the mistakes he was making on why it didn't work. He's able to actually get feedback, maybe grow from it and think to himself, well, I know what not to do. Now I know how to be a better husband to somebody else. And that would be the second marriage. The second marriage fails, it would be the same kind of analysis again. But a third time, I don't know about a third time. I would think that by the third time, you're probably in your latter 50s, 60s, meaning you're both very elderly. You found each other. You're done. You're at the end of your life anyway. You're finding someone.
It doesn't.
You know what I mean?
Usually happen like that. They do it within like 3 years of their prior marriage, and to me, it doesn't seem like they're learning. I can't see how that would be learning if you're just gonna fail again.
Well, it was based off of my statement. I wanted to make a correction. When I say that men learn sooner, what I mean by that is that we learn sooner because I believe that both sexes learn at the same time that XYZ will treat you wrong. Like, for example, women will learn at the same time that men will learn that a beautiful woman is a headache, and a woman will learn at that exact same time that a man with money is an asshole, so to speak, right? We're just speaking in general. I believe we both learn those things at the same time. What I meant that men learn sooner is that we can't have it all. We learn to make concessions far quicker than women do. It takes women a lot longer to realize, hey, look, life is about choices and trade-offs. We learn that fairly quickly that we can't have it all. So we would say, all right, I'll sacrifice looks for love, whereas women would stack on top of their standards. So yeah, they may not have gotten love with the money. They may not have gotten love from the guy with money, but they're not going to sacrifice the money immediately or early on after learning that the guy with money wasn't shit. They're going to be like, all right, well, the guy with the money didn't work out, but I'm not giving up the money or giving up that guy with money. I'm just going to stack on top of it and say, well, now I want a guy with money that treats me right. Whereas we'll say, hey, look, I'll sacrifice a beautiful woman for a woman that's going to treat me right. I know that the beautiful woman don't come with that. If we learn very quickly that life is about choices and trade-offs.